two main groups you'll see at the top here, Apollo to Midas and Midas to Apollo. All these tracks going from Ableton routed to my Apollo interfaces. So I've got the X8 and I've got the Apollo 16. So together they give me 24 channels of digital to audio conversion. So going out of the box into the mixer. And the way I've configured those is just to match the way the mixer's set up. 1 to 8 are all the first 8 mono tracks on the mixer. Then I have 2 stereo tracks, so I can send stereo. For instance, I might just reserve these, one for the drums, main drums, one for the vocals, keep those in stereo. The rest of the mixer tracks, 17 through 24, I've assigned, but I don't really use these for sending out. Basically, I just don't need that many. So really we're talking about 12 tracks in total. And they're already assigned to the relevant interface outputs. And obviously then I've physically hardwired the interface, the Apollos, to the relevant channel inputs on the Midas. Then I've got this group that does kind of the reverse, the return journey, coming back from the Midas to the Apollo's analog inputs, and then those Apollo inputs are assigned to these Ableton channels. So basically Midas mixer channels 1 through 8, just like before, are mono, coming into the Apollo as mono. The stereo tracks, I actually have to assign them on the mixer with the button selection to the groups, because stereo tracks on the Midas don't have direct outputs on the channels. All the mono channels do, but the stereo ones don't. And the way you configure that is you route them to the groups, and the groups do have separate outs. You can hard pan group 1, 2 left right, group 3, 4 left right, and you then effectively have your stereo outputs. So that's how stereo signals come back in to the interface for capture in Ableton. And then again, the final 8 channels. Now these 8 channels, they are active and they are assigned to the last 8 channels on the mixer. I'm using those channels as hardware effects returns. So when we're mixing and sending the multi-tracks from 1 to 8 and 10 to 12 out to our auxes, to our effects, the effects units are coming back in on these channels, and that's what we're capturing as separate tracks here. Now you don't have to set it up this way with a capture track for every mixer output. You could, for instance, just send everything to the groups, and that's a perfectly valid way to do it as well if you want to capture like a full mix. What this does, breaking them up into individual channels to record on the way back in, obviously gives you the possibility, if you want to maybe release something or do some mixing and mastering or post-production in the box, or just finessing some of the moves you made, or redoing just, you know, one effects section maybe where you were a bit heavy-handed on the space echo and the feedback went bananas. If you're capturing that all in just like, you know, 1 or 2 stereo buses or a master mix, you kind of got to start again. You might have kind of ruined your whole mix. If you're capturing things on individual channels, you're giving yourself that flexibility afterwards to go and fix things or re-edit just bits or overdub bits, because you might, you know, the rest of it you might have thought was perfect take and you don't want to necessarily throw it all away. So that's the basic approach. And obviously what I've just shown you, the beauty of this as well, is it works for summing. So putting dub mixing aside for a minute, you can utilize having all these set up. As you can see, if I expand everything, the 24 Midas inputs we're sending out from the DAW, and the 24 total returns. And of course, if you want to configure more tracks in stereo, you can just combine mono channels, hard pan, left, right, any of these, and treat them as stereo pairs instead. So you've got that flexibility on the hardware, and you just update your DAW template. So I've got Track Live open. This is my favorite place to come and find stems or multi-tracks for dub mixing, as well as other, you know, sourcing stuff for other like productions, remixes, etc. But it's especially good for doing dub mixes because you can first of all select by genre. Keep things simple. I'm going to choose reggae today. Obviously you don't have to, you can dub mix anything. That's the beauty of dub mixing, but we will stick with reggae because I have a track in mind. And this is the important bit: track types, songs with multi-tracks. So now we've filtered that, you can see next to each song in the selection it says a number of multi-tracks. If you're just starting off, getting used to the concept of dub mixing. Keep it low, you know, 4 to 5 multi-tracks is plenty. I've picked one I want to do today. It's a Sly and Robbie track. I've already previewed it, sounds great. You see it's got 15 multi-tracks here. And I've already gone in here and clicked the sync button. So they're all in my track library. Okay, so once we've found our track, we then just need to download the tracks we want to use. So I've started this here already. You can see here in my dub multi-tracks folder. And what else? I've got the first 3 bass, cymbal, tom already done. Let's just quickly go through, and you can see I'm just dragging these. Hi-hat, tom 2. We can just drag these all, command and drag to keep them on separate tracks like this, right to the start of the track. Once we have those all nicely placed here, we can see the tempo information is 88, so I've just updated the track tempo to that. And one thing I want to do on all these multiple select, go into clip, and I want to check nothing is warped. So I have auto warp turned off for long samples. That's in your warping settings in Ableton. If you don't know where that is, go to record warp launch, and there is a thing here, warp fades, auto warp long samples off. I have that off for specifically this reason. When I'm dragging in stems or multi-tracks, I don't want it to warp them. Instead, what I do is set the track, the actual project tempo, to match this, so that we're all in sync right from the start. Because, you know, any kind of warping does affect the sound to some extent. It's processing it, so I'm keeping this as close as possible to the original audio. So now we're ready. Now what I might do is just group a few things together and decide, like you see these blue tracks here, they're my stereo tracks. So what I'm going to do is find all my drum tracks, cymbal, hi-hat, kick drum, and the toms. Yeah. So I'm going to set up some spare tracks here. So one option here is set up as a group, bounce group in place, and that would mean all of these individual tracks become one. So I'd basically have all my drums. What I might just do though is remove gyro from there. I think I'll leave everything else together. Treat the main drums as one. So get rid of that track. There we go. So this is the drum group, bounce group in place. Okay. All right. So now you can see. Sorry, I don't actually want to record over that. Let me just turn that off. Now you can see we have complete drum kind of stem, and I'm now going to put that on the first of my stereo tracks. And just to keep it simple, I'm going to put the percussion on the other stereo track. That's the pre-made track. So what have we got left? We've got bass, guitar, rhythm guitar, piano, organ, synth drum, and gyro. So yeah, that we've consolidated those 15 tracks down to 1 to 7 mono tracks. I'm just going to update the color coding so it's obvious. 1 to 8. Yeah, so what we've got now is consolidated 15 individual stems down to, let's see, 7 mono, 2 stereo tracks, so 9 total. So that's a much more manageable number. You can see if I expand the tracks. Obviously, if we want to, we could delete this track with nothing on it, but I'm going to leave it there for now, so I'm not messing with the template. And you can see as well, if we look at it, everything's lined up and ready to play back. So now we will start playing this back through the mixer, see how it sounds as we start experimenting with the effects, and I'll use that as an opportunity to talk you through the routing, how I've got this set up for dub mixing.